Hey everyone, welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul, and this is my follow-up review of the ProForm Smart Pro 9000 treadmill. It's been about a year since I did my initial review of the machine, and a lot has happened. So stay tuned, here we go. So why am I sitting on another treadmill box a year later? Well, let me first start off by saying that the first treadmill, the one that you guys saw in the first video, that was really reliable for about 7 months. I used it about between 3 and 7 times a week, between 30 and 90 miles a week, depending on where I was in a training cycle, etc. Now, I took really great care of that machine. I kept it cleaned, wiped down after every single workout. The only thing that I can really say that was odd about it is that the chest strap that came with it never hooked properly through Bluetooth to the machine, so I was never able to use that at all. And the only other thing that I really want to point out is that the belt on the machine itself was always prone to shift a little bit to the left. So one of the other sort of normal maintenance things that I had to do with that machine was always adjust the left roller to pull it back out away from the front of the machine a little further to stop the belt from drifting. Beyond that, it was just a completely reliable machine. And like I said, I put plenty of miles on that thing. However, on Monday, January 25th of 2021, things changed. I was running a 6-mile easy run. I was 1 mile in, and suddenly there was this big shift in the treadmill belt. It went to the left all at once. It got caught between the back roller and the treadmill's frame, and it threw me off the machine. It got jammed, it seized up, started smoking, and started making this horrendous noise. So I jumped up off the ground after it threw me across the room, and immediately noticed that my ankle was hurt. But the noise and everything was really, really scary. So I ran up, I pulled the safety on the machine, unplugged it from the wall, and gathered myself again. Well, once the power was down on the machine, I had a quick look around, and things did not look good. So that night, I called the Icon/ProForm help desk to figure out what my next move was going to be. After sitting on hold for over an hour that night, I was finally put in touch with a help desk tech person, and they instructed me on how to install an app that would allow them to see in real time what I was seeing. So once the app was installed, they instructed me on the dismantling of the machine so that they could get a direct look at where the damage was to be able to assess whether it was major, minor, whether this was going to be a repair job or a complete replacement job. So as I took the machine apart and continued to show the tech person what I was seeing, it quickly became apparent that the steel frame itself had been bent by the force of the malfunction. So I knew at that point that I was going to be in line for a complete treadmill replacement and not have to deal with any kind of repairman showing up or me having to do the repair myself, as was initially a possibility. So when I finished that online meeting, I was told by the representative that it was going to take 2 weeks from that point for corporate to assess the submission, and if I had not heard from them 2 weeks afterwards, that I should get in touch with them and follow up. So after 2 weeks, I still hadn't heard anything, so I gave them an extra 5 business days and decided that the time had come for me to get in contact directly with Icon ProForm again to see what was going on. So I called them, sat on hold for 90 minutes this time, and then was told that the initial representative that I had spoken to and done the whole app thing with and all that had misfiled the report. So they would need another additional 2 weeks to assess the situation. Well, I bit my tongue, didn't really have a choice, and let the time pass. And in the meantime, I wrote out another monthly payment check on my regular schedule to make sure that I did not void my interest-free payment plan with them so that I would never have to be charged extra. Mind you, this was all for a machine that was completely useless to me, but, you know, tried to do the right thing. So 2 weeks later, I called Icon ProForm again, and I was told that they had in fact processed the report at this point and that they would email me the official response within 24 hours. So that sounded all right. At least I was finally making progress. The problem is I never received that promised email. But I got busy with work and it was another full week before I got back in touch with them. Notice it's always me getting in touch with them. At this point, it had been 6 weeks since my machine had broken down and I hadn't really seen any real action from Icon ProForm. So when I finally got a person on the phone after another hour-and-a-half wait time, I vented my frustrations, very civilly mind you, in my opinion anyway, and told them that it seemed like their customer care was just like rather utterly lacking. And after their profuse apologies, I basically demanded to get the email that had been promised to me over a week ago with the official word on the state of my case before I hung up the phone. I refused to just let them go and make a promise that they weren't going to keep. And I was successful in getting that email, small victory. But after I received the email that said, yes, I'm going to get a new treadmill at that point, I was supposed to be transferred to another department to talk about the details of the actual process of receiving that new treadmill. The problem is, when they transferred me, I was disconnected. By then, I had made yet another payment on my payment plan to make sure that I wasn't voiding my contract with them, despite not having anything from them that actually worked. But the following week, I did receive 2 emails from Icon ProForm. One was to schedule the pickup of my old broken machine, and the second was to talk about my choice for a replacement machine and the scheduling for the delivery of that machine. After 2.5 months without a treadmill, I was offered the possibility of upgrading from my Smart Pro 9000 to the Pro 9000, which was initially very exciting. It had a 22-inch screen, sure seemed all fancy, but when I did my research, it seemed that, with the exception of the screen, all the other important parts of the machine were actually a downgrade. It was a less powerful motor. It doesn't incline and decline as much as the initial one I had. The rollers at the back are smaller and therefore the belt wears faster. So I made the decision that if it was available, I just wanted an exact replacement of the same machine that I had purchased at this point, 9.5 months earlier. So I was told that there were some units available of the older model, so that's what I went with. It was at this point that the representative I was speaking to told me that due to the malfunction of the first machine, my warranty was voided, and that the best they could offer me was a 30-day warranty from the day that I received my new machine. So that was just a bridge too far for me. I just really got upset and told them that there was no way I was going to pay them monthly payments for a $2,000 treadmill just to have it break 31 or 32 days later and then be stuck with continued payments for something that didn't work if something goes wrong with the second machine. There was just no way I was going to have it. I told them I would rather take a financial hit, void my contract with them, and walk away from ProForm completely. It was only at that point that they relented and said that with the new machine they would give me the full warranty that I had with the first one. I had to fight for basic consideration from this company, and it really did not impress me at all. So since then, I've made yet another monthly payment right on schedule to make sure I didn't do anything wrong on my end. So here I am, 4 months later, about to build my second ProForm Smart Pro 9000 treadmill. Here we go. Hey everyone, so as you can see, the machine is finally in one piece and operational. That did not come easy. There were actually some missing parts that I had to have ProForm shipped to me. Specifically, the risers. The bolts that connected the risers to this entire upper portion were not in the kit, so I had to deal with that. But once received, everything worked perfectly. I've now run on the machine 4 times, put a total of 25 miles on it, and I was rather paranoid during all of those runs simply because of my experience with the first machine. With my first machine, immediately after I put it together, there was a tendency for the belt to want to stray towards the left roller, which ultimately was its undoing. This time I watched very carefully as I ran on this new machine to make sure there was no shifting, and so far so good. So my impression of this machine so far is that it's a much more solidly designed machine. And yes, there are differences between this machine as far as the design and the parts compared to the first one that I had. So with that said, going forward, I'm happy. I appreciate you watching both of these videos, and I hope it informs your decision about whether you're going to buy a ProForm machine. I thank you for following along, and as always, get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.